Hello, and welcome back for another week of Daily Fantasy NASCAR. I'm Chris Terrell, and I'm here for dailyfantasysportsrankings.com to bring you my core drivers for the Apache Warrior 400 from Dover International Speedway. It's been a while since I recorded the NASCAR video, so we're going to quickly go over how to load the cheat sheet that I provide every week and how to create your own copy so that you can sort columns as well as construct your own models. So we're going to start at dfsr.com, go to my article here. And this is a preview article, so I'll kind of go over some race trends and stuff like that for the race, as well as some pre-qualifying picks. And then right here at the bottom, to get the cheat sheet, you can either click here, or you can click the picture here, and it's going to open the cheat sheet in another window. It is going to be view only, so keep that in mind when you open it up, that you won't be able to sort columns. To be able to do that, what you're going to want to do is go to File, make a copy, name it whatever you'd like there, and hit OK. It's going to open another copy, just looks just like this. The only difference is you're going to be able to sort columns now. So for instance, if you wanted to see DraftKings point averages for the last 6 races, and those are per race numbers, you can click on anywhere in that E column, go up to data, sort Z to A, and then we've got that sorted there. So I'm going to go back, I'm just going to sort by salary. I'm going to slide all the way over to the right. And as you can see, there's some numbers here above these ranks. Now, these ranks that you see here in all these columns from AX to BL, those are ranks for the current track history, career track history, track type history, current form, that sort of stuff, just so that we can throw some weights on it and create our own model. So if you feel possibly that final practice is worth a little more than 20% of the overall weighted average, you can adjust any of these numbers here. And by doing that, it's going to adjust the orange overall rank columns on all the way to the left and the right there. So that's what you can do there. So one thing to note before we get into the picks here is this is the first elimination race of the Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs. Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch have already advanced with wins at Chicagoland and New Hampshire. Kyle Larson and Brad Keselowski have also advanced on points. So that leaves 8 spots for this race, and 4 drivers are going to be eliminated. The guys that are going to be in the toughest boat here are Kurt Busch and Casey Kane sitting at the bottom. Kurt Busch got into a crash, ran into a spinning Kevin Harvick last week, which kind of hurt his chances a whole bunch, as Casey Kane had a mechanical issue, rear track bar I believe broke, and he ended up at the end of the pack as well when it came to the end of the race. So both of those drivers are going to pretty much need to win this race, so keep that in mind when you're making your picks, is that they've got a lot of motivation. Now, with Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, and Martin Truex Jr. already advancing, doesn't mean they're going to sit back at the back of the pack, kind of like we seen last year with Joe Gibbs drivers at Talladega elimination race. That isn't going to happen, as the new structure with their stage points and playoff points are going to be key, because those playoff points are carried over right through the 3rd round. So with that, we're just going to jump right into the picks here. So my picks for Dominator this week, by no surprise, is Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. This is only the 2nd time this year. I believe Kevin Harvick at Phoenix was 11,000, and this week Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. It's the 2nd and third drivers of the whole season that have reached that 11K mark. I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner, just with the dominance that they've showed. Truex and Busch are the only drivers to lead over 1,000 laps this season. Truex has 1,835 and Busch has 1,621, so it's really not even close as to who has the most Dominator points this season. That's why I have them at the top of the list here, and that's why they're $11,000. Truex will start in the pole, and right beside him, Busch will be there in the front row as well. If I had to choose one of them, I would probably pick Busch, looking at the stats here, as Kyle Busch was first in the final practice 10-lap average, and first in the first early practice on Saturday as well when looking at 10-lap averages. Other drivers to keep in mind when we're talking about Dominators are going to be Kevin Harvick and Kyle Larson. They're starting 9th and 3rd respectively, and Kevin Harvick was 1st and 3rd in final practice, while Larson was 6th and 4th. So they both look like they're going to be top 5 cars and should have a good chance to get up there and lead some laps as well. Now, before getting into the place differential picks, I want to show you a couple new things that I added this week, help you make your decisions when setting your lineups. So we're going to go down to, we got point averages for one. So I've got every driver here, their last average DraftKings points per race, the last 10, last 6, season average, as well as per track on this side. and I've also got them color coded to track types that come from driveraverages.com. So if we slide all the way over to the right, we can look at the 1 mile intermediate tracks, and you can sort those columns as well. That is some of the information that shows up right on the main cheat sheet page. And then the other tab is the last 6 races at Dover. Change this every week, so we can see this 2017, that would be the May race here at Dover. Jimmy Johnson won. He started 14th, so it also shows each driver's place differential, how many fast laps they had, and how many laps they led. And then scrolling just down to the bottom of that, I've also set up some information, quick looks here. You can see 22 drivers last race had positive place differential at Dover. 7 drivers had double-digit place differential. 9 drivers had double-digit fast laps during the race. 3 drivers had 20-plus laps led. 2 drivers had 50-plus, and 2 drivers actually had 100-plus laps led. And then I also put down here how many drivers finished top 10 that started inside the top 10, and then how many drivers finished top 10 that started outside the top 20, just to kind of see the correlation between started and finishing position. So as you can see, only 1 driver in the last 2 races here, and only 3 drivers in the last 3 races started outside the top 20 and finished inside the top 10. So it is a fairly tough track to pass. Track position is going to be important this week. If you have any questions on that, just definitely hit me up on Twitter, comment below on the video, and I'll definitely help you out with that. So now we're going to get into the place differential picks, and my top guy this week is Jamie McMurray. Just going to highlight him here. He's starting 26th this week. So he's got a ton of place differential value, and what I like the most about him, as you can see here, looking at the qualifying practice differential, he's a minus 21 because his practice average was 5th. He was 4th in the second practice, which was early Saturday morning, and then he was 6th in final practice. He also posted the second fastest 10-lap average and the 4th fastest 10-lap average in those practices as well. So he's got a lot of value this week. He's going to be probably top 2, top 3 highest owned drivers just because of that place differential and the fast speeds he showed. So definitely a cash game play. I'm going to be using him in some GPPs just because of that place differential. He is a playoff driver, so definitely looking at him, but I could see you wanting to fade him because he's probably going to be in that 50 to 60% range when looking at ownership. The other driver I like for place differential this week at the top of the list would be Jimmy Johnson. He's won here 11 times in his career. He's absolutely dominated, but he had trouble in qualifying. He's back in 17th. They didn't show a lot of speed in the early practice this morning, but in final practice they seem to have found something. He was 2nd in final practice, and he had the 6th fastest 10-lap average. There's a lot of value with him here this week. I think he should be, barring mechanical issues or a wreck, he should be a shoe-in for a top 10 with winning top 5 or winning upside as well. So he's going to be probably a popular pick as well. Probably he's going to be top 5 ownership. I'm not sure exactly where he's going to fall just because McMurray, Busch, and Truex, even Harvick and Larson are going to be popular this week. One more note on Busch and Truex at 11,000. It's not going to be too hard. We're going to get into the value plays here next, but it's not going to be too hard to stack them together if that's a route you want to go in GPPs, even in cash games, because we do have some nice values, and we'll get into that right now. Top value of the week, Matt DiBenedetto. I think I pronounced that right. He's coming off 40th this week, so he's starting at the back of the pack. So he's got 0 negative place differential value, and he posted 32nd and 31st fastest speeds in the final 2 practices. And looking at his track history, he's finished inside the top 30 here in back-to-back races at Dover. So definitely going to be a nice driver, and at 5,000 he fits nicely if you're going to stack 2 or 3 of the top drivers this week. The other driver that I like this week, just up a bit here, he's at 5,200, is David Ragan. He is starting 28th this week, and looking at his speeds, he's shown top 20 speed in all practices. Well, 21st in final practice, 17th in the early practice this morning, and top 20 in 10-lap averages. So, looking at his track history, he's going to be a GPP play only. He's finished 30th here in back-to-back races at Dover, but before that, in the 3 previous races, he had finished 22nd or better. So he's going to be a top value as well. So those are going to be my top drivers this week. My core drivers, the ones I'm probably going to build around. I'm going to have the most exposure to those guys. And if you have any other questions about any of the other guys on this cheat sheet, just you can leave a comment below the video. You can hit me up on Twitter at Jaeger_bombs9, or you can head over to the DFSR.com chat room just down here. Once you log in, you can click on public chat room. You can join me. I'll be in there tomorrow morning, pretty much from when I wake up until the race starts, drop of the green flag. So hit me up with any questions there. Thanks again for looking at the video, watching it. Make sure to like it below, subscribe to the channel. Going to be trying to get a whole bunch more videos out now. NFL season's going, NHL season starts next week, and NASCAR, we've got 7 more races to go after this week before we crown a champion. So let's see some green screens this week. Good luck, and we'll talk to you next week.